Welcome to Looking at Legal Stuff. Today we have a new update in part 4 of a case with a couple where the children have been removed by the state due to both dad being in prison for SA against his children and also mom having issues with emotional instability and a DV arrest. The children are initially sent back to live with mom again, with clear expectations and goals she must meet in order to have full custody returned to her. But despite a lot of support from social workers, local charities, and churches, she fails to meet nearly every expectation given to her. Will there be any consequences, and will mom's behavior improve? Let's find out. You'll want to make sure you've watched the first 3 parts of this case, which cover the first 8 hearings. I'll link them for you down below.
22-51687 in A and 22-51884 in A. Present in the virtual courtroom, we have Mother Diamond Jones. We have attorney Jessica Lowry. We have Stephanie Card. No, we have. Do we have Stephanie Card? Yeah, no.
I'm here for Stephanie.
All right, we have Stacy Van Dyken for Stephanie Cardenas. Let's see, we have Mr. Barry, who's present, and we also have Mr. Gregory, who's present, the children's attorney, Ms. Ortega, and various agency workers, and Ms. Ortega.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to call Cassandra Helms.
Right. Ms. Helms, would you raise your right hand? Would you state your name for the record?
Cassandra Helms.
And would you spell your name?
Cassandra Helms.
And do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Helms, you are the foster care worker in this matter?
Yes, ma'am.
As part of that role, you have provided some reports for the court today?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. And at this time, Your Honor, I'd move to admit 4 exhibits.
All right.
Exhibit 1 would be the case service plan and 2 parent agency treatment plans dated July 10 of 2025.
Any objection?
No objection.
No, Your Honor.
No.
Okay, it's admitted.
Thank you. Exhibit 2 are 3 YWCA reports dated May 6, 2025, May 30th, 2025, and July 7, 2025.
No objection.
No objection.
No.
All right, admitted.
Thank you. Exhibit 3 is parenting time specialist report dated June 29 of 2025.
No
Any
objection.
objection?
No objection.
All right, it's admitted.
And exhibit 4, a therapy report for EG dated July 22, 2025.
Any objection?
No objection.
No, Your
All right, that's admissible.
Thank you. Ms. Helms, we'll start with the children. I'll start with EG. How is he doing?
EG is overall doing very well in his placement. He's engaging in counseling and really getting ready for school to start.
Okay. And he is attending therapy at this point?
Yes, ma'am.
And how is that going?
Overall, it's going well. His therapist, Molly Ferguson, through Family, Children and Family Services of Saginaw, reports he's a little guarded in his play therapy, but she's working with him. They meet on a bi-weekly basis, so they're still building a rapport, and that's going well so far.
Okay. And the children, have they had trauma assessments? Do you know?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so there's probably not any trauma piece to his therapy at this point.
They are working through, EG has reported having some night terrors and things that happen at night. So they're like working through that, but nothing like specific.
Okay. And he attended school last year, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
I know we had some issues getting him enrolled, but did he complete this school year and move up to the next grade?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. And is he up to date on his medical and dental?
Yes, ma'am.
Any other specific needs that you can identify for EG right now?
Not at this time.
Do you know if he is able to engage in appropriate activities for a child his age?
Yes, and I know that Mr. Gregory has reported he really wants EG to get into some sports this fall, so that is a discussion I'll have with the caregiver about that.
Okay. And EG does have some visits with his father, correct?
Yes, the caregiver is cleared to bring EG to, they try to do monthly visits. There was a issue a couple of weeks ago when they wouldn't accept a copy of his birth certificate, which was odd. They've done in-person visits with no issues before, so we're really looking into that. But they do have like around 2 to 3 phone calls per week.
Okay. And those seem to be helpful for EG?
Yes, ma'am.
Moving on to SC, how is she doing?
She's doing very well.
And she's up to date on her medical and dental?
Yes, ma'am.
Last time we were here, I believe there was an order for her to begin therapy as well. Has that started?
Not at this time. There's been some struggles with SC regarding counseling. She did not have the same Medicaid as EG, so I had to get that switched over, but she wasn't able to get that switched until June. So I thought it was going to be activated, but then it wasn't going to be activated, switched over until July. And then when that happened, there was no one accepting at the Children and Family Services of Saginaw. There was no one accepting her age for play therapy. So she is on a wait list and we're trying to get her in, but there's just been a lot of roadblocks in that.
And to your knowledge, has she been able to engage in appropriate activities for a child her age?
Yes, ma'am.
She was not enrolled in full-time school last year, correct?
No, she attended a structured daycare, and the plan is for her to attend preschool this fall.
Okay. Do you know, I know we can't get her into therapy quite yet. Are there any significant concerns related to that, or is therapy just more of a helpful piece for her at this point?
I think overall, SC does not have major like trauma behaviors that we're seeing in the home. I do think that she would benefit from that service, and so we are exploring options. Saginaw doesn't have a lot of play therapists in the area, and so as the children transition with the caregiver to Grand Rapids, I do feel like there's more opportunities for play therapy for EG and SC.
Okay, and that was going to be my next question to kind of transition into some newer news. Can you tell the court about a planned move for the family?
Yes, so the caregiver is working to relocate to the Grand Rapids area. She has obtained employment and is working to obtain housing. There's been some roadblocks in housing in Grand Rapids, as the court's aware of. So really I've sent the caregiver a lot of resources for private landlords, that type of thing. And the hope is that she move in the next couple of weeks, especially with school starting. We want to make sure that we get the kids enrolled and then services transitioned over. So that is in the works. The caregiver's lease is up at the end of August. So it is a little bit of a time crunch. We've had lots of conversations about that move, but so far things are going smooth.
Okay, so this sounds like it is a realistic plan and something that is going to be happening pretty soon here, hopefully before September 1. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And have the kids been told of this transition?
I guess I haven't had direct conversations with them. I know they have been coming with the caregiver to Grand Rapids when she's been, looking for employment and that type of thing, which have worked well with family times on Mondays. But I assume they're kind of in the know of kind of what's going on that's age appropriate for them to be aware of.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to Ms. Jones, how has she been doing in her progress in therapy?
She was engaging really well at the beginning of the reporting period, and then she did start being less consistent and engaging. She does have a really strong relationship with her therapist through YWCA. There was a gap where she didn't. She engaged in counseling on June 2, and then she didn't engage until July 11. So that was a concern. I have pretty consistent communication with her therapist and making sure she's having appropriate goals, and that's going well. But that gap in counseling is definitely a concern.
At one point, there had been some discussion about maybe a psychiatry appointment. Do you know if that has been explored at all?
Ms. Jones was not open with me about that, but I did inquire with her therapist regarding DBT, which was a referral or a recommendation from her counselor and psychiatrist recommendation. And I didn't really hear if anything actually came to fruition through that. I can get further clarification. I know there was an issue with Ms. Jones's insurance in getting into DBT. Ms. Jones was not open to providing me her insurance information for me to help assist in that area.
Okay, because I know one of the major issues at this point is on the emotional stability. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and to kind of gauge how Ms. Jones can regulate her emotions more effectively when she's with the kids. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Is related to that need, are there any other services other than therapy at this point, and what you've just described was recommended, any other services that are offered to Ms. Jones?
Yes, she is engaging in our parenting time specialist program, and she has since June 16 been engaging in that program with our supervisor of that program. And while Ms. Jones hasn't been consistent in meeting with that service provider, that is a service that's offered to her and she would benefit from.
Okay, parenting skills is another need at this point.
Yes, ma'am.
And that same service, the parenting time specialist, that would be one service you're offering to address that.
Yes, ma'am.
How is that? You mentioned a little like there's been inconsistent engagement. Overall, how is that program going for Ms. Jones?
I would say she's not having the full benefit from that program, as the requirement of that program is that she meets with the parent support specialist before and after parenting times or family times in order to make sure that she has a plan for family times and can discuss things that went well or things she can work on. We did have a TDM on 7/29 to discuss family time specifically. And I know that the parent support supervisor said during that meeting that she's going to start having Friday phone calls with Ms. Jones so that they can have those meetings, as Ms. Jones reported she had a busy schedule and wasn't sure if she could add that around her visit.
Okay. Has the parenting time specialist raised any concerns?
Yes, she has shared that Ms. Jones does become escalated during family times, which then makes EG and SC very dysregulated and upset, especially SC. She'll become crying and unconsolable, really. And then the parenting time specialist really wants to work with Ms. Jones on how to approach those situations so that she can help regulate herself and her children.
Okay. Are these parenting times happening in the community?
For the most part, they're happening at the agency. They have had a couple of family times in the community at parks, but for the most part, they're at the agency.
Okay. Related to parenting skills, are there any other services that you're offering, Ms. Jones?
Not at this time. We did discuss her retaking parenting after trauma. That's something Ms. Jones historically has brought up doing. And so I know there's a class that's going on right now, and I have to make sure that works with Ms. Jones's work schedule.
Okay. Again, another segue. My next, I was going to hit employment, and that has been a barrier. What is her employment situation now?
Yes, she has reported to me that she is employed at an in-home care organization. I'm not exactly sure of the name of that. I haven't received a pay stub. She has provided me with her schedule. It sounds like her schedule kind of changes a little bit week to week. She can kind of pick up different hours. And so I haven't really gotten a clear understanding of who it's through or what that can look like. But she has reported consistently that she is employed.
Okay. When's the last time you've asked her for a pay stub to verify that she's actually working?
I don't recall that specific date, but I want to say it was in June or July.
Okay. And she still has yet to provide you with a pay stub?
Correct.
Okay. But she does continually discuss that she has a busy schedule.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Anything else? Is she going to school or anything that would be part of her busy schedule other than employment?
She's reported wanting to get into a GED program, but has not reported that she's currently in one. No.
All right. What about housing? Sounds like there is a new update on housing.
Yes, she did sign a lease through Breton Groves. That was just last week on 7/31. That was through a community rebuilders program. So I am hoping to go out to Ms. Jones' home to see that living space, verify its appropriateness. But that is a relatively new development.
Do you know if she has a move-in date yet?
I believe she has moved in already.
Okay. And just for sake of time, if it's okay with Attorney Lowry, I move to admit that lease is Exhibit 5.
Thank you.
No objection.
All right, it's admitted.
Thank you. And so you still have yet to go there, you said, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And that's part of community rebuilders. Do you know if that is then she'll have assistance with her rent?
I have not had a chance to look fully into that lease. I do know that it's for a year, but I would, if it's through community rebuilders, I would have the assumption that they are assisting in some manner with that.
Okay. Let me move on to parenting times. Because that seems to be the kind of the biggest issue in this matter from moving forward, and we're at a PPH hearing. So parenting times with Ms. Jones, how are those going?
They are a struggle from time to time. As I previously stated, Ms. Jones will become dysregulated, which will then dysregulate SC and EG. So that's what that parenting time specialist program is working with Ms. Jones to help with those times.
Okay, can you give the court some examples of the struggles that are still occurring?
Yes, there was an incident at a park where Mrs. Jones was screaming at SC and EG that she was embarrassed by them, and they were embarrassing her at the park because they were becoming upset with Miss Jones. There was another incident at the agency where SC was not engaging in the manner that Miss Jones wanted her to, and she became upset, and Miss Jones would leave her in a room by herself so that she could calm down, despite SC asking for affection and a hug to help calm down. There's just several different things that come up that it doesn't feel like Miss Jones has the skills to help regulate herself to then in turn help regulate the kids. There was also an incident when EG was dropped off back to the caregiver after a family time that he reported that his mom is so mean to him. And when no one acknowledged that comment, he said it again. And so that was a large concern as well, that they're picking up on those things. So definitely things that need to be addressed. And that was definitely discussed during our TDM last week.
So there doesn't seem to have been much progress in this area, if any, since the last reporting period.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Jones really wants unsupervised time. Is that fair to say?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you been able to have discussions with her as to why that's still not occurring?
Yes, that's what we discussed during the TDM, which was led by a WMPC third party. And I feel like it was a very productive meeting, opposed to other FTMs we've had. And we discussed very clear action steps for Ms. Jones to build this area and skills. And so the hope is to have another TDM at the end of August, beginning of September, to discuss more family times to see if there has been improvements. But it does seem like we have some very intentional steps in place.
Okay, so she's well aware of the steps she needs to take to get onto a plan to have the unsupervised time.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Moving on to Mr. Gregory. Has he been communicative with the agency?
Yes, very much so.
Okay. And we've already discussed he sees his son quite regularly, or he at least talks to his son quite regularly.
Yes, ma'am.
Are there any services that you would like to see him participating in?
Mr. Gregory really goes out of his way to find services for himself, and I just want to commend that. He is engaging in lots of programs while he's incarcerated. I have been finally cleared to meet with him, so we have had 2 virtual visits, which have been very productive. So we had one in June and one in July, and he even opened up that he's going to be starting a school program in January. He's very excited about for some business management and machine trade. I'm not fully understand that part of the program, but he engages with all the articles I send him and provides input on anything he would like to have homework on, and overall, he's engaging in the best possible way he can.
Okay, so he is at this point following all recommendations from the agency.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you have any idea of a release date for Mr. Gregory?
His earliest release date is November of 2027.
Okay. And I am so sorry, I don't have my notes. SC, her father's not deceased, correct? He's just unknown at this time?
Correct.
Okay. Any efforts to locate SC's father?
We still don't have any names or leads on who SC's father is, and so we're kind of at a standstill in trying to locate him. If there are any names provided, I'm willing to explore those and have DNA testing if we are able to obtain communication. But at this time, really kind of stuck with no names or leads.
Okay. And she has not had any contact with a putative father's family?
No.
Okay. And so she really looks at Mr. Gregory's family as her family. Is that correct?
Yes, and she even has made comments about Mr. Gregory being like a father figure to her, and has reported EG and SC will get in arguments because EG will talk about his father, and she'll be like, "That's my dad too," and he'll have to correct her. So it's quite cute.
Okay, and she also sees EG's grandma as her grandma.
Yes, she calls her Grandma Tina.
All right, thank you. At this point, do you believe that return of the children would lead to substantial risk of harm for them if they were to go back with a parent today?
Yes, ma'am.
Is termination of parental rights in their best interests at this time?
No, ma'am.
What's your recommendation?
It is respectfully recommended that EG and SC remain temporary court wards and be placed with an appropriate relative, fictive kin, or licensed foster home, that their permanency goals remain to be reunification and guardianship, that Miss Jones and Mr. Gregory participate and benefit from their parent agency treatment plans, that Miss Jones' parenting times be supervised or unsupervised at the discretion of the agency, that Mr. Gregory's parenting times be supervised, and that this matter be reviewed in 90 days.
Okay, 2 questions that I failed to address that they should. For guardianship purposes, what would that look like should guardianship proceedings move forward? The timeline on that.
Yeah, so the caregiver is working to get licensed. It's a bit of a standstill with her moving. We weren't going to get her license in Saginaw if we would have to re-update that in Grand Rapids. So once she gets into a permanent place in Grand Rapids, the licensor is ready to start that process. Based on how EG and SC are funded, they do need to be in the home for 6 months past licensure going through so that we could do a subsidized guardianship. And so there have been several conversations with the caregiver regarding this.
Okay, and the caregiver is still willing to go into a guardianship?
Yes, ma'am. She's willing to do any permanent option that is in the best interest of EG and SC.
Okay, thank you. And then just hitting on the counseling for SC, at this point, your intention is to find a counselor in Grand Rapids, given that they're moving soon, instead of continue to pursue someone in Saginaw. Is that correct?
Yes, with the hope for them to move in the very near future. I have put some feelers out for counseling for both children to get them engaged in play therapy as soon as possible.
Okay, thank you. No further questions.
Ms. Lowry.
Thank you, Honor. Just some questions back to EG, and we were talking about counseling. Are you able to provide Ms. Jones with updates on EG's counseling? I don't believe she's received any updates.
Yes, I can discuss that with her for sure. She's been difficult to get a hold of to meet with, but yes, I can talk with her about that.
Okay. And is she able to also directly communicate with the therapist as far as how he's doing with making progress or whatnot? I guess assuming he does or doesn't continue with this therapist.
Yeah, I can see to make sure she's on the approved list to have that communication, but yeah, it's going to be transitioning to a Grand Rapids area, but I'll ensure she has communication with them.
Okay. All right. And so I guess to follow up on that, the issue of enrolling the children in school, do we know where they're going to be enrolled in school?
Not at this time. With that transition happening, I'm not sure what district they're going to be in Grand Rapids. And so as soon as that housing is set in stone, I will work with the caregiver to get them enrolled as soon as possible.
All right. And did Miss Jones have some concerns about SC starting school, about her not being there when SC would be starting school that she expressed in the TDM?
Yes, she expressed that she did not want SC to start kindergarten until she was in her care. And based on SC's age, she should be able to engage in preschool. So the agency doesn't have any concerns with that at this point.
So I think there needs to be another conversation because Ms. Jones thinks that SC would be going to kindergarten, but the agency is looking, or her placement's looking to put her in preschool for an additional year.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we can follow up on that conversation once we have more specifics.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So Ms. Jones has been working with community rebuilders and has secured an apartment.
Yes,
Correct?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So that's a pretty big deal for her. And she's moved into the apartment.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And you haven't been there yet, but she just moved in and you're going to go view the home.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And so it sounds like that was kind of a big piece here as far as having a home to be able to return EG and SC to. So that has been a big focus for Ms. Jones. Would you agree?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Is the agency also able to help her if she needs any assistance with any just home needs, such as beds for the kids or so forth?
Yes, I know Ms. Jones reached out to me about that. I did inquire with our program manager, and she reported I need to view the apartment before we could explore getting any assistance. So
Okay.
I have reached out to Ms. Jones about that.
Okay. All right. Great. I just don't want those things to be additional barriers if it's something that we can get assistance with from the agency. But all right, I'm glad she's reached out about that. And so it sounds like as far as employment, you are asking for a pay stub, not just a schedule.
Yes, I would like a pay stub simply because it will be that verification of employment, but also verification of income. So I know what type of income Ms. Jones is receiving.
Okay. And all right. But it's been at least a couple months since you've requested that from her.
Like I said, I don't recall the exact date of the last time I requested that from her, but yeah, I do know it's been some time that she's provided it.
Okay. But she did provide you at least with a schedule just to kind of show her shifts.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So that kind of segues into the counseling. I know you mentioned there was a gap in counseling. Was that around the time that visits were moved from Fridays to Mondays when Ms. Jones works and also had her counseling appointments?
I do know it was around the same time. I did clarify with her counselor before those family times changed to ensure that she could still accommodate Ms. Jones in her schedule. And she didn't have any issues with that. And she said she had discussed that with Ms. Jones as well.
Okay. But it required a change in the schedule for Ms. Jones because she would work until 2, normally would go to counseling, I think at like 3 or 3:30. And then the parenting times were going to be at 4:30, if I have it right. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And she doesn't have transportation. So getting to all these places is not a super easy thing for her to do or to juggle.
Correct.
All right. So there was a period of time where the counseling had to be rescheduled to a different day because it wasn't going to fit with the parenting time.
Yes, and that was all a plan put in place before that change officially happened.
But Ms. Jones did not want her parenting times to move from Friday to Monday. Is that correct?
Correct. She did. However, the agency was no longer to accommodate Friday family times, and so that's what also played a role in that switch.
All right. So they had been on Fridays, and that was when Ms. Jones didn't have to work, and it was a good day for the visits, and they were moved to Mondays, which is when she already had work and her counseling. And so counseling needed to get moved to a new date.
Yes.
Correct. Okay. All right. So, but she's maintained contact with her therapist and has a good relationship with her. Would you agree with that?
I'm not sure what her attendance has been in July. I only know of one date she did attend, but I do know she has a strong relationship with her therapist. Yes.
Okay. And her therapist is willing to work with her. And do you know if they've even talked about her adding DBT into their sessions?
Not in the last update that I received from her. She did not indicate about DBT. It doesn't sound like she herself can do DBT. I don't think she's trained in that. And so she did have some resources and ability to refer for that. And so that's the discussion that I had with the therapist.
Okay. And can you just specifically follow up with her to see if she did mention that she would incorporate DBT therapies into her sessions with Ms. Jones, or if she really has to go somewhere different?
It was my understanding.
Screenshot over.
It was my understanding based on what Ms. Becker reported to me that she would make a referral or recommendation, like that she wasn't qualified to do DBT herself.
Okay. All right. But if she's reported something different to Ms. Jones, can you just clarify that so everybody can be on the same page about what the expectation would be?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Ms. Jones has attended every single parenting time?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And some of the concerns that were noted, there's also positives. Would you agree, such as working through breathing exercises with SC, saying affirmations with SC? There's positive actions as well.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And Miss Jones only gets 2 hours a week with the kids.
At this time, yes.
So if she's trying to also, incorporate some of the things she wants to change with the children as far as behaviors or things that are inappropriate, they're 4 and 6, she has to fit that discipline in her 2 hours that she gets with the children once a week.
Yes.
All right. So would you agree that that's pretty hard if you're trying to kind of correct your 4 and 6-year-old as well as, have a fun family visit and so forth, incorporate everything into 2 hours a week?
I do feel like it is tight. That is a time to be able to apply those skills. I do know there's that barrier of the kids living 2 hours away right now, but with the plan with them moving to Grand Rapids, we did discuss at that TDM adding an additional day. The hope is to have that start as soon as they move to Grand Rapids. I've been in communication with the parenting time specialist to incorporate that, so that has been a discussion.
Okay. And Miss Jones has requested the children be moved from Saginaw to Grand Rapids for quite a long time now, for several months at least at a minimum, so that she could continue to build her parenting times, get expanded time, and so forth. And because of the distance the children have had to travel and school and so forth, that has not been able to occur. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right. And she did provide a relative who had been, or I guess I don't know if it's a relative, but a very close family friend who had been supervising that was also going to be moving into Grand Rapids that was willing to care for the children.
Yes, I lost communication with that individual. I had communication with her, and then she reported she wasn't able to help assist with supervising anymore. And then she never reached back out to me when she established herself in Grand Rapids, and so that kind of fell off as an option.
All right. But with the expectation that the children's placement will be moving to Grand Rapids within the next 3 or 4 weeks, would you look to expand parenting times for Miss Jones, given that she's achieved housing at this point and working through the barrier of emotional stability?
Yes, the plan is to at least add another hour visit.
Okay. And that was part of our TDM, which was in the next 3 weeks to expand parenting time for Miss Jones.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Do you know if there's been any Friday morning phone calls yet?
I do know that they did not happen on Friday this past week, which would have been the first one. I talked to the parenting specialist about that. It does sound like it was like an error in scheduling purposes, but the hope is for that to happen this week.
Okay. Going forward, what is the main thing that you're hoping to see from Miss Jones?
I think there's a couple things that Ms. Jones can really focus on now that she has that housing established, is engaging consistently with her counselor and the family time specialist to work on her parenting skills. I think they both go hand in hand with that stability in parenting times, but also in Ms. Jones' life in general.
All right. And hopefully with increased parenting time, there'll be a better ability to kind of see interactions with the children as well. And also that's been a constant frustration of Miss Jones, is the limited amount of time that she's been able to have with her children.
Yes, that has been her narrative, yes.
And it sounds like what you're saying, even considering a guardianship as a possible long-term goal here, you're still looking at a minimum of 6 months plus the time of licensure. So let's just say another 2 months, at least 8 months would be the shortest time frame that could be achieved.
Potentially, yes.
Well, at least 6 months, and we're not even licensed currently, and we don't even have a home to license, correct?
Yep.
All right. So Miss Jones has secured housing for the children. The children are included on the lease, and there's room for them?
I have not viewed the home, so I'm not sure if there's room for them, but I know that was what Mrs. Jones was trying to acquire.
All right. And has employment. She's also been able to always get additional hours through the Very Able app as well. Has she shown you that before?
No, ma'am, she has not.
Okay. All right. And she's attended every single parenting time with her children.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So, and just to follow up, because Ms. Jones did send me a screenshot from her counselor, will you speak with Ms. Becker as far as if she did say that she would incorporate DBT into her sessions?
Yes, I can inquire with her, yes.
Okay. And I'll have Ms. Jones send you that as well. All right. And will there be an additional FTM just to discuss the schooling once we have identified home or placement for the children here in Grand Rapids?
The plan is to have a TDM at the end of August. What specifically are you referring to for schooling? I guess I'm not sure.
Okay, just like where the children would be going to school and making sure that Ms. Jones is included in those conversations.
Yes, I will make sure she's updated on that.
All right. Do you foresee being able to move to unsupervised visits in the next 3 months now that we have housing and consistent parenting time?
I feel like there are things that Ms. Jones needs to continue to work on in order for us to move to unsupervised, and that was discussed during the TDM. So I don't know if I can give a timeline. It all really depends on how those family times go in the next few weeks or several weeks.
All right. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Van Dyken.
Thank you. Ms. Helms, other than his engagement with what's offered at the prison, are you sending him any homework assignments?
Yes, I am sending him at least 1 article a month.
Okay. And he's completing those and returning those?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. Nothing further.
All right, thank you. Mr. Berry?
No questions, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Ortega?
No questions. Thank you.
I have one. I noted in my notes from the last hearing that both children were going to be referred for trauma assessments, and it sounded like that wasn't done, or that the referral, maybe my notes are wrong. So I want to check on that.
I'm trying to think off the top of my head where that landed. And I actually don't recall, Your Honor. I'm sorry.
Okay, because I heard you say today that you didn't believe they needed them at this point.
I'm sorry, I don't really recall. I do know that I've been on other referrals for other cases, and I can't really keep them all straight at this point. So I'm sorry.
Okay. And you don't have any notes you can look at?
I can look 1 second.
Okay.
I am not finding anything, Your Honor. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, my notes may be wrong. It might have been from a while ago and I just did take it off. So, Ms. Ortega, any follow-up to that question?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. Ms. Lowry?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Van Dyken?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. Any further witnesses, Ms. Ortega?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Any witnesses, Ms. Lowry?
No, Your Honor.
Any witnesses, Ms. Van Dyken?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Berry, same question?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Statements, Ms. Ortega?
Thank you, Your Honor. You were kind of hitting it. I was going to ask that the children do. I recall at the last hearing that we mentioned that trauma assessments would be helpful for the children. And so I do recall, but I don't believe there was an order. It was in the order that they should be referred. So I would request it again today that the children do engage. I know the waiting lists on those are long, and if they're going to be here in Grand Rapids, maybe the resources here will be a little better than in Saginaw. So I find it concerning that the request is to expand time and move to unsupervised time when the times that are occurring, there are still bad behavior on mom's part and dysregulated behavior. And so I don't know why the expectation would be that more time she would be able to keep her emotions under control, given that the minimum time she has, she doesn't. And so it's that lack of insight that it's always been my concern. That being said, I think there are areas where there's been some progress. And I think housing is great that she obtained housing, that there will be somewhere for the children if she's able to address this emotional stability piece. I really encourage that she takes the opportunity to tap any resource, psychiatry referral, DBT referral, anything, because I think that's the one main thing that hinders her from reunification. I think she can be resourceful. I would like to see for pay stubs to be provided for all of July. It sounds like she should have been working all of July to just verify that what she's saying is truthful to the agency. But I agree with the agency. I don't think termination is in the best interest of the children. I think EG has a great relationship with his father. I know his father can't care for him right now, but I don't think terminating that parental relationship would be in his best interest, given that where he's placed right now. And I think that Miss Jones, given the fact that for guardianship, we do have to wait at least 6 to 8 months. I think that there's a time period here for Miss Jones to really get it in gear. If she has employment, she does have housing, to work on this emotional instability, to dive in on her counseling and any other resources, like I said. So I support the recommendations. I still don't support unsupervised time, but if she follows the plan, the outline that the agency has put before her to get to that time, I would have no objections to that as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Lowry?
Thank you, Your Honor. Well, we support the continued goal of reunification only. Obviously, it's been outlined that a guardianship is going to take several months. I mean, I think 6 to 8 months is the very minimum that would be even a possibility. Ms. Jones has worked super hard to get housing. She's worked with community rebuilders, and has secured that, is in the housing, has provided a lease, so that has been a huge step for her. Obviously, this case has been going on for a very long time, as the court is aware. So unfortunately, Ms. Jones is patience is wearing thin, but she's doing everything that she can to work with the agency. Every statement is being, written down in every parenting time. So there's positives that just don't get mentioned, which is frustrating to Ms. Jones. Sure, there's things that she's working on. She's at every parenting time. She wants to be reunited with her children. She's getting jobs. She gets a job, and then, a parenting time changes from Fridays to a day where now she has to work all day and then get to parenting time, without regard really to, what that takes for her to switch things around. And she's juggling a lot, but she's willing to do it. I think it's just, it's testing her. She has a great relationship with her counselor. And so, I think relies on that, but it's hard when things get changed, and it looks like we're looking at another change, which obviously her request has been for the children to be moved back to Grand Rapids for a long time, because it's been very difficult to make progress and move forward when they are so far away, and it involves travel and resources from the agency, and when there's school schedules and so forth. So I think she's under the microscope with everything that's going on, but she's doing the things that need to happen. And just like there's negatives, there need to be positives. Ms. Jones, it sounds like has provided some pay stubs too. She just sent me some as well. So I think there's some things that just need to be followed up on, so that there's accurate information, because that's very frustrating for her when she feels like she's not accurate information isn't being provided. So, but she wants to reunify with her children, and so I would ask the court follow the recommendations towards reunification and allow the agency to have the discretion to, hopefully once her kids are here, expand on her parenting time, because 2 hours is just, it's not really enough when you've been working on this case, had your children reunified, lost housing, lost your children, and here we are again. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Van Dyken.
As the recommendations to Mr. Gregory, I think they're appropriate, Your Honor, and ask the court to adopt the same.
Right, thank you. And Ms. Ortega, did you say that you saw the children?
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I did not say that, but I did have a chance to visit with the children. They are doing very well. And they're extremely cute. Not very talkative, so I don't get a handle on their preference. I think they're too young anyway, but I did have a chance to visit with them. Thank you.
All right, thank you. The court finds that the lawyer guardian ad litem has complied with the requirements of the statute, that returning these children to a parent today would cause a substantial risk of harm to the children's life, physical health, or mental well-being, that they should not be returned to a parent today. The agency should not, actually, no, it'd be the children have been in foster care for 15 of the most recent 22 months, and the agency should not initiate proceedings to terminate parental rights to the children for the compelling reason that they are placed with a relative and that guardianship is a concurrent plan. Also, they have really both of them have a strong bond to Mr. Gregory. That reasonable efforts have been made to preserve and reunify the family, make it possible for these children to safely return home, that those reasonable efforts for reunification be continued. That in accordance with the statute, progress towards alleviating or mitigating any conditions that cause the children to be placed or remain in temporary foster care has not been made by either parent or the unknown father of SC. That the children's continued placement is necessary and appropriate as meeting their needs. That the needs of these children can be met in a foster family home. That reasonable efforts have been made to finalize the court permanency plan of legal guardianship and return to a parent. That the permanency planning goal remains appropriate. That the foster home has followed the reasonable and prudent parenting standard, and that the children have had regular opportunities to engage in age or developmentally appropriate activities. The siblings are in a joint placement. The court orders that the children continue in the protective and temporary custody of the court, continue their placement with the Department for Care and Supervision, that the adjudicated respondents, Mr. Gregory, Ms. Jones, and the unknown father comply with and benefit from the case service plan. And in addition, Ms. Jones is to provide all of July's pay stubs to the agency within 7 days. The parenting time of Mr. Gregory is to be supervised until further order of the court. The parenting times of Ms. Jones is at the discretion of the agency to allow unsupervised or supervised parenting time by its designee. That continue the attorneys in this matter. And Ms. Van Uller, do you have a date for our next review hearing?
Yes, Wednesday, October 8th at 11 a.m. via Zoom.
Any conflicts with that date or time?
That works.
All right. Thank you very much. And